Greetings, I'm Amani Channel and you're watching MediaConnection.tv, a program that showcases social media, news, trends, and innovations. Thanks so much for joining us. Each episode will bring you timely information from leading thinkers in the digital media space. This episode's guest is Councilman Kwanza Hall. Councilman Hall was elected to the Atlanta City Council in November 2005. He represents District 2, Atlanta's most socioeconomically and culturally diverse district. And he's also heavily engaged in social media. You can find him on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, where he's working to build relationships and increase conversations in the community. He's also one of the few Atlanta natives. I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, how did you get into social media and what's the value to politicians?
Well, I think I was playing around with it during my first election, but I couldn't get my constituents and definitely couldn't get regular voters to come anywhere near it. And then I guess since President Obama's campaign in the last 3 years, we've seen just a huge proliferation of people getting involved. And now I recognize that my constituents want to know where I am every day and what I'm doing for them. Well, I had been reading about it for several years, but just kind of thought it was kind of a passing fad. And I remember during, I guess, the 2005 election, when I was running for city council, I was on the web and folks mentioned meetups and they kind of mentioned Friendster, but I was like, those people are too young. They're not going to be able to vote for me, or they're just high school students. Sounds great and they're really all over the world, but I don't see my constituents who are primarily senior citizens or older professionals, even young professionals, but they weren't trying to be on the social networks. But in the last 3 years, I've just seen a huge proliferation with President Obama's campaign. I think it opened the world up to the possibilities, and it made it real for me even, because in 2005, it just didn't seem realistic to be pushing your political agenda over social media. But now it's obvious and it makes sense, and people are there and they want to know what's going on.
So speaking of President Obama, what lessons have you learned? Everybody talks about how his campaign really changed the way politicians campaign and that sort of thing. What have you learned from his example? Has that sort of been your main anchor point in terms of your point of reference for developing your strategies?
Yeah, well, one of the core pieces is initially I looked at return on investment. When I ran my campaign in 2005, I probably invested $5,000 to $10,000 in electronic media, in email list, in an email database, in website, things like that. And my return was probably $200,000 overall in the amount I raised. Well, you look at what President Obama invested. So I saw the ROI equation to be very similar. You invest, 5–10%, you could easily, triple up or do far more than that, depending upon how much you use it. The other part was just giving people a way to access you. He really made himself accessible. And you have to have a team around you to make that possible, but you empower individuals. I think allowing people to have my Barack Obama pages really gave people that power to not only talk to their friends, but to also invite people to raise money, to do so many things around the campaign that otherwise you'd have to do from home with postcards. So it took all the tools that people used to do in grassroots campaigning and made it accessible on the web. So that's a great learning. And I think going forward, just being able to deliver so much more content that people otherwise never get to access in government. They never get to see the things that happen behind the scenes. They never get access to all the documents. They know it exists, but who wants to go and search through Library of Congress or go to Office of Management and Budget or all those places to find the documents? And now it's available on the web through recovery.gov. I think that's a great opener, creating transparency in government.
So in terms of other council members in the city of Atlanta, do you know how many of them are engaged in social media as you are? I know you have a relatively strong presence for a newcomer to the space. And are you a pioneer in that space within this city, do you feel like, or is it something that's catching on?
You might call me a pioneer. I'd say there are 3 or 4 of at least 4 other colleagues who have Facebook pages and they do web stuff. And I think they're starting to update their status. They're not living it, I don't think, and I'm trying to really live it. I'm making it a part of my DNA. Everything I do, if I don't tell you I'm in the bathroom, but if I fall out in the bathroom, I'll let you know, because I might need some help. But other than that, I tell people what I'm doing, and I do it on Twitter, I do it on Facebook, LinkedIn, MySpace, just trying to, keep people Plaxo, just using all of them. It can be a little cumbersome trying to do it all on a BlackBerry, so I'm going to invest in an iPhone. Probably going to have to get a Mac so I can have all the tools at my disposal to be able to keep people current. And I actually am starting to go through withdrawal syndromes when I don't update. So if I go for 5 or 6 hours and I haven't updated, I feel like I'm leaving people out, and I actually apologize to my friends.
Here we go.